Thank you, Ben. Moving on to number 20, updated Yuba City Municipal Services Review for the Bogue Stewart Master Plan area and initiation of an amendment of sphere of influence.
Excuse me.
Okay, bear with me here with this one. So, in order for the city to annex the Bogue Stewart Master Plan area into the city, the city's sphere of influence needs to be expanded. The Sutter Local Agency Formation Committee, so Sutter LAFCO, is charged with the responsibility by the Cortez-Knox-Hertzberg law, which requires that the city prepare a municipal service review in advance of any LAFCO action. This allows Sutter LAFCO to be able to determine that the city can reasonably extend services to the new area. The MSR will be used to determine if a municipal service provider can feasibly finance and extend infrastructure, services, and facilities into the proposed sphere of influence amendment area. So the next steps for the municipal service review are to submit it to LAFCO, Sutter LAFCO, and if approved, LAFCO will then review and update the sphere of influence for the city. The municipal service review, it specifically is prepared by the city's consultant, ESA, and it evaluates the structure and operation of the city and various service providers. The MSR includes a discussion of the plans and ability of each provider to ensure a continued adequate municipal service provision, as well as the means and capacity to serve future developments upon annexation. So really, it really gets into the those utilities and how we provide safety, first responder, police and fire service to that new area, and designates how that it can handle, that we have the capacity at the plants, that we have the capacity with our other services to handle that. So pursuant to the Cortez-Knox-Hertzberg Act, determination must be made for each of the 7 factors noted. Determinations are based on analysis of information provided by surveys completed by agency staff, agency documents, meetings with agency staff, and internet research. So in establishing the new sphere of influence boundary and reviewing the MSR, LAFCO will consider 5 factors: present and planned land uses, present and probable need for public facilities and services, present capacity of public facilities and adequacy of public services that the agency provides, existence of social or economic communities of interest in the area, present and probable need for public facilities and services of any unincorporated communities within the existing sphere of influence. The MSR provides evidence that the city will sufficiently serve the expanded sphere of influence. So it's really this document that says we are capable and able to serve that area. So with this, the recommendation is to adopt a resolution by the City Council accepting the updated municipal services review for the expansion of the Yuba City sphere of influence to include the area covered by the Bogue Stewart Master Plan with the ability to correct minor editorial corrections. And we'll make sure we'll bring it back to you if there's any sort of major issue if a major issue needs to be made with the update. Authorizing requesting amendment of the current MSR is updated, and authorizing requesting an application for and the initiation of the sphere of influence amendment. And so just to clarify on item I there, the first one is that with this review, there is definitely, when you read through it, there's references to population numbers and different references. And what I've gathered or received back from ESA is that where they've pulled, there's multiple documents over multiple years, and so they've pulled documents from our 2010 urban from a water plan, or they've pulled a population number at a different point in time from a different document, and so that's created a little bit of confusion on the reading, where you're reading along and you just read 63,000, and then you get a little farther along and it says 68,000, and it talks about that population. So with that authorization, we want to give us a little flexibility to update any clerical issues before we submit to LAFCO. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think this is probably a question more for the city attorney. The issues on some of the references were things that I discovered in review of the document, and so I'm just procedurally, just to make sure we're not, I don't want to approve a document that has false information in it or inaccurate information. And the reason being isn't to say the document is poor, but it is so that it's a clean document when we submit to LAFCO. Is it through Mr. Moody's recommendation, can we approve a document with contingent upon taking care of those issues that are in error?
Yes, if there are errata issues, clarifications, minor items like that, and the city council gives authorization to staff to do that, you can do it. However, more substantive changes would need to come back to the city council. That could probably be done on a consent calendar item at a later date. Now, I just wanted to point out that LAFCO's own policies have, under the law, the standards where they talk about substantial changes to the MSR. So LAFCO law already inherently recognizes that these municipal services reviews are not going to be 100% accurate. They're looking at the big picture to see if services are available. And sometimes a water district may have a different baseline than the fire district may have a different baseline from what they're using. And so it may look like the document has some internal inconsistencies that way, but it's based upon the latest information that you may have with each snapshot in time for each type of service being rendered.
My concern is that the services are being considered or reviewed based upon population figures in one instance. And those population figures should be consistent as a predictor for city services, and they're not. There's also reference to old population numbers that we have already exceeded. I mean, we're past some of those references. Again, I would consider them to be relatively minor, but in the scope of looking at a document that's an official document going forward, it concerns me. You said substantive, and I don't know what you're going to tell me. You're going to get squishy on me again, I'm sure. So, thank you.
All right, so we can move forward approve the document in general, and we can make amendments.
Yes,
They're errata, I'm assuming.
yes, you can certainly move forward. If there's any sort of errata or minor clarifications formatting, we can take care of that on the staff level. If there's something more substantive, you may just see this on a future agenda item with some corrections, and you'll know that's what it is.
All right. If the majority is okay with that approach, we're good.
I would just like to add to that, in the report, it was talking about, this is where actually the roundabouts were listed, okay? So I want to know where those roundabouts are planned. And in addition, it talked about the schools, and the schools in the beginning of the first phase did not need additional, that there would be no impact to the school systems. And there will be impact without building a new school in the first phase of the development, based on, and this is part of that first development phase.
Yeah, I could definitely, if you have the section, we'll read through it just so I make sure I have the context with it.
Yeah.
And this definitely with ESA, there was coordination with the school district that how that impact is handled.
Yeah, it's on page 40. Section 2.3.10. And I did not write where the roundabouts, but it was listed in here as well. And on the medium income of the households, again, I know I sound like going through the same issues over and over and talking about our economy. We're building these beautiful homes. I just want to make sure there's the right people to buy those homes, because that impacts our economy. So I just like to say that.
Through the mayor, if you wouldn't mind me responding to the question, Ben, if that's okay with you.
Please.
I took a quick look at the municipal services review on page 40. Thank you so much for pointing that out. What this is based on is the school district's assessment with regards to their capacity. So we're not necessarily making a determination themselves. It's based upon, as Ben pointed out, what the school district is giving us. Under this one, they're saying that they're adequate. I didn't see anything in here where it specifically said there would not be any impact or no impact. It said that they would be okay and they would be adequate up to a certain level, and then there would need to be fees paid in order to address the impacts to the facilities. If I'm looking at the same
Yeah,
place.
you're looking at the first paragraph, I think, is probably needs to be relooked at. You're reading it, I get it, I read it, and I think that based on some of the data on this document, it probably needs to be reviewed.
And so just to add from the developer, that there was a coordination with ESA, or the consultant with the EIR, the city, and with the developer coordinating with the school district. And that's how we came to the parcel. And then also, there was an agreement that they participate in the school Melon-Roos. And so as these houses get built, they would pay into that.
Yeah, but I think there needs some corrections.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it.
Thank you.
All right. Any public comment? Nothing? All right, bring it back to council. Or not?
You going?
Yeah.
I'm not even on the page. Go for it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
I may need some help with the amendment piece to this, Mr. City Attorney.
Yeah.
Adopt a through the mayor, I'd like to introduce a motion adopting a resolution of the City Council accepting the updated municipal services review for the expansion of the Yuba City sphere of influence to include the area covered by the Bogue-Stewart Master Plan. Authorize, also Section B here, authorizing and requesting amendment of the current MSR as updated. And Section C here, authorizing and requesting an application for an initiation of a sphere of influence amendment. And then I would also add inclusion of correction of inaccurate information.
Yes, so that would be authorization to staff to make any sort of errata or minor modification or changes to address that information with substantive information and come back to the city council.
Well done.
Thank you.
Second.
In one breath even, that's
Yeah.
good. And we have a second over here by Mr. Cardoza. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ben, you can go take a break.
Thank you.
Well-deserved break.
He's got, Chief's doing the camera.